This is Vishnu Ramprasad, a genius musician in the studio on Artist of the Week. He combines Carnatic influences with jazz. Vishnu, thanks for coming into the studio.
Thanks a lot, Jane. My pleasure.
Treat us to 18 by 8, your own composition.
Sure. I mean, this composition has been, a lot of people have been asking me about this, so I'll be happy to just maybe play a short intro.
20 seconds, we're going to play right now. The rest you can tune in on the show. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Chennai Live 104.8 FM. We're in the studio with a very special artist of the week. This is Mr. Vishnu Ramprasad, founder of Comic Blues. It's a fusion guitars and vocals kind of a setup. Well, good morning, Vishnu, and welcome to Metro Mornings.
Good morning, Jane. Thanks for having me.
Alright, so you hail from a very artistic family, incorporating nuances of Indian classical music in your stylishly versatile playing. Tell us a little bit about your trademark style.
Sure. Growing up, my father is a very senior vocalist. He's my guru, vocalist TV Ramprasad. So right from my young childhood days, I've been listening to his music, and that was the foundation of where I am right now and where I'd like to be. And a big guiding factor and a very inspiring person in my musical journey was Mr. Neil Mukherjee. He's a Bengali guitar player, and my initial training in Western guitar and harmony was all from him. And I also studied briefly with John Anthony. He's a well-known guitarist in the industry, and he known as the guitarist of Carnatics. So, and also I learned Indian percussion from Konnakol, from Ghatam Suresh. He's a well-known maestro of rhythm with students internationally. So overall, I think a confluence of different influences and guiding spirits and gurus is led me to where I am, and has set a standard to where I'd like to be.
Well, I think, I was not there while we recorded the music that we're going to play right here on Chennai Live, but I heard it from the studio, nearby. It percolated through the glass, and I'm completely entranced by what you have for us. I'm sure Chennai is as well. The first song coming up is Moksh, and there's going to be a small introduction by the artist in the studio, Vishnu Ramprasad. A big shout out to Exodus for getting us this great artist right here in the studio. You guys stay tuned and stay happy.
So just as an introduction to how I bring in both my influences of both Indian classical music as well as my Western training, I'd like to present my own composition based on beautiful raga Abheri, and I hope this conveys to you how much what music is to me and the thought process behind this composition. I present Moksha.
Good morning, Chennai. This is Metro Mornings. You're with me, Jane, on Chennai Live, 1FL.8 FM, taking you on a trip of a different kind on Artist of the Week. We have artist Vishnu Ramprasad, founder of Karmic Blues. Now, what he does is very, very interesting. He incorporates nuances of Indian classical music in his very stylishly versatile playing. It's a unique blend of Carnatic and jazz music that's gained him performance opportunities in India and USA and a lot of other countries as well. Now, some of the most distinguished names that he's collaborated with is Padma Vibhushan Dr. Umayal Puram Shivaraman, violinist A. Kanyakumari, Gautam V. Suresh, Steve Zerlin from the USA, and Ayman Bouzlida from Tunisia. Some interesting names there, but thank you so much for joining us in the studio, Vishnu.
My pleasure, Jane.
All right, it's really fantastic to have different musicians come in on the show. Tell us a little bit about, the growing up years. Of course, you talked to us about the influences, but how did you know that this is exactly what you want to do? What turns you on every day?
It's a very funny story because the guitar was just placed. It just happened to be one of my first instruments that was given to me at, I think, if I remember correctly, a wedding when I was very little. And maybe my cousin had a great foresight that maybe this will, do me some good. So apart from all the music that that I've been exposed to, I think all kind of had its own, taken its own toll and taken its own impact over time. And for me, I've growing up in a family of musicians. In terms of practice regime, that discipline was quite important. So cultivating a habit of a serious practice routine, starting very early in the day and going through the day, as well as I also studied at the Krishnamurti Foundation of India for about 13 years of my time, and I came out of the school after my 10th grade. This was to pursue music more seriously and devote all my energy to studying this great art form. So overall, I've been able to put in a little bit of work, and I hope it
pays off.
I hope it pays off.
I'm sure.
And I don't think there's any other way to say that. I mean, it's an infinite learning process, and every day you have to take every day as it comes. I learn a lot by just observing people. It's a very interesting journey, and I'm very happy to have all of you here with me on this journey.
Well, we will continue the journey, and I'm sure it's paid off for us because it's great listening for us. It's fantastic to have you here in the studio. On the other side, more coming up. The second song you're going to listen to is 18 by 8. It's Vishnu's own composition. He'll tell you a little bit about it before the song starts. Stay tuned and stay happy.
So I'll be presenting for you all another composition of mine. This one is particularly interesting, will appeal to a very large, diverse range of audience. I call this composition 18 by 8. It's based on a very interesting rhythmic cycle, and I think for drummers and any instrumentalists, this is an interesting piece for you to enjoy.
Well, thank you, Vishnu, for joining us in the studio.
Once again, thank you, Jane.
All right, we've heard two of your own compositions, and I'm completely blown away by what you can give us. It's a totally unique sound. I love the way it sounds. Tell us, where have all your influences come from? When did it go from one to another genre, and how did you, find your way forward?
I think every sound, every song that I've heard over these last few years has, influenced me in some way. There has been no particular influence. But growing up, I started out as any normal kid or a child would enjoy. I started listening to a lot of rock music. I enjoyed that. Being a guitarist, and having my initial training in Western music, I had a band. I used to play around a lot of concerts here and there, pub concerts and whatnot. It was an interesting experience. So that gave me an experience of playing with a band and a good energy between, different musicians, if you will. But then I think my roots caught up to me. My family, again being an Indian classical artist family, I think we take long drives in the car. So one such journey to, I think, Bangalore, we were listening to a lot of cassettes. And one such CD was of Pandit Nikhil Banerjee, wonderful sitar player and one of my biggest inspirations that made me change focus in music. He was playing Zila Kafi, Raga Zila Kafi, and to me it was something, it really gave me a new perspective as to what I wanted for my music, what I wanted for myself. And over the time, listening is a very big aspect of this music. So listening to different artists, Hindustani, Carnatic, as well as studying the great jazz masters, I think it has to a certain extent shaped my musical thinking to a great extent. So
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. On the other side, lots more conversation. In fact, it's going to be one last bit in the show. We're going to listen to a Carnatic Kriti, and we're going to have Vishnu tell us a little bit more about it. That is coming up in just a little bit. Stay tuned and stay happy.
For the third piece, I thought I'll present something quite different to show my classical background. That's something I've been working quite hard at. I'll be playing a Carnatic Kriti called Tattva Mariya Tarama, Raga Riti Gaula, Tala Adi, composer Papanasam Shivan.
in Chennai. This is Metro Mornings. You're with me, Jane, on Chennai Live 104.8 FM. A very interesting artist joins us on Artist of the Week. Thanks to Exodus for bringing him in. This is Vishnu Ramprasad. He has a unique blend of Carnatic and jazz music put together. The last track is a little offbeat from what he's been giving us this whole hour. It's Purple Haze by Jimi Hendrix. Tell us, what was the influence there? Go ahead, tell us.
Jimi Hendrix, it's just like revisiting old days, because listening to Jimi Hendrix was a big part of my childhood. I did a lot of his songs, learned a lot of his songs. So I just thought I'll put in an interesting song for the other audience who are listening to this. I'm sure they would have enjoyed that piece. So I just put it in.
So that's a nice feather in the cap towards the end of the show. Your shout out to Chennai about music, about life, about who you are. Give us a final wrap for them to, actually take that as the last taste in the show today.
Sure. It's more than anything. I think it's a blessing to for any. To be in this journey of music and with such beautiful people around. I think I'm really grateful for that. And my family. My father T.V. Ramprasad, and mother Indira Kadambi, they've been more than patient, because growing up, I think I went through a lot of ups and downs as well. But I think also my schooling and introduction into Krishnamurti philosophy. I read a lot of non-fiction literature, as in like philosophy. And I enjoy those kind of, I wouldn't want to say spiritualism or philosophy, why label them? But I think it really shapes my thinking to these dialogues between the great masters or the great thinkers. And it has definitely impacted my thinking a lot. Also, for me, music, what I want for myself is, I think one lifetime is not enough to study this art form. And I'd really like to just both aspects of my music, both Western music, harmony, as well as Indian classical music. I think my ultimate aim is to learn as much and study these art forms, because that is what ultimately is important. I've heard so many. My family keeps talking about it. People keep reminding that it's not about how popular you are. It is not about how materially successful you are, because art is a very spiritual and inward journey. And I think there are so many great musicians around, so many equally talented young musicians around, and I think more people need to get serious about this art form, and with this practice of a little bit of music for anybody, I think it would be wonderfully beneficial, as it has helped me. And I think there needs to be a change to thinking to serious music, good music, and I'm very happy to be a part of this, in this process.
That's fantastic. Well, making music, good music, a part of your life is something that is a definite call out from Vishnu. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio.
My pleasure, Jane. Thanks a lot.
We will leave Chennai with Purple Haze by Jimi Hendrix as performed by you. Stay tuned, Chennai. Stay happy.
Through so many different exposure to different styles of music, and different sounds, different inspirations, but I'd like to go back to where I started for a minute. Like any guitarist who starts out, I went through a Jimi Hendrix phase. He was my idol, and I used to learn all of his songs, and it was an interesting phase. So I'll for all you rock lovers out there, here is a piece called Purple Haze. the sky. Hey, so now, don't know if I'm coming up on time. Am I happy you're missing me? Whatever it is, that girl put a spell on me. But I don't know